This is my dad. And that's me. I've got a few random questions for you to consider. What do you think when you think about playing sports as a kid? What do you think when you think about your parents? And when you think about those sports and your parents, what do you feel? When I was in second grade, my dad was in the National Guard and he spent a lot of times overseas. And I would never forget how hard my mom worked to take care of me and my siblings all by herself. She was a phenomenal mother. Today, however, I want to tell you a little bit about my dad. Him and I had a relationship which bonded over sports.
We like sports and we don't care who knows.
My dad loves sports.
We get it. We like sports.
He was a 3-sport athlete in college. He coached my brother and I in high school football, coached varsity basketball for boys and girls, picked up a few state championships as a varsity volleyball coach, and was given a few Coach of the Year awards. But now his sporting endeavors are secluded to recreational golfing and relying on everyone else to see where his ball went.
Well,
parents play a very, very important role in the biopsychosocial spiritual development of their kids. That's no secret. And the same is true with athletic development. Parents have an extremely important role with how their children develop athletically and just their overall relationship with sport and exercise. My dad had a very heavy, very profound influence on my athletic career. My dad retired working from the high school where I grew up, and I wanted to celebrate him and his hard work in his retirement by taking him on a father and son trip. And that's when I had an idea.
I'm a genius.
What if I made a video about me and my dad taking this father-son trip while also talking about the psychology of being a good sport parent? What does the research say it takes for a parent to develop a kid's athletic success? Now, when we talk about athletic success, it may not just be, oh, they made it to college or pro, or they got that scholarship, but athletic success can also mean they enjoyed sport. They set up a lifelong healthy relationship with exercise. They made friends, they developed good relationships, and had a positive impact on their life. And if you don't already know, I'm a certified mental performance consultant through the Association of Applied Sports Psychology. And today's video is going to serve as a manual for parents on helping their children perform their best. To quote Ryan Holiday, procreation is biological, but parenting is psychological. All right, let's begin. Here's the plan. My hometown does the sickest 4th of July celebration. I live in South Carolina, and every summer I take my family back home to Utah for the 4th of July. It just so happens that on July 5th, the 50th anniversary of the Prefontaine Classic would be taking place in Eugene, Oregon. Tracktown, USA. I ran track in high school and in college, and it's something that me and my dad really bonded over. So I had a brilliant idea. After the morning 4th of July festivities, I can drive my family back to northern Utah and drop my wife and kids off with my in-laws. My dad can then pick me up and we can drive to the Salt Lake City airport and fly to Portland, Oregon. From Portland, we would drive down to Eugene, stay the night, then catch the Prefontaine track meet the next day. After the track meet, we would drive up to the very most northwestern corner, then over the next 3 days, drive down the Oregon coast. At the end of a trip, we would get back into a plane, fly to Salt Lake City, Utah, where my dad would then go back down to our hometown where he grew up, and I would go back with my wife and kids to South Carolina. Boom. A perfect father-son road trip. Love you too. You ready?
Yeah, are you ready for this?
I'm ready, man.
Good.
Let's do it. So I knew that organ would be beautiful and supply a lot of shots for my video. I knew that I'd have a lot of fun with my dad. What I didn't know was what the story was going to be. In fact, I even recall telling my wife that I was a bit nervous about going on this trip with my dad because I didn't want this video just to be boring. Hey, we saw this and saw this. I wanted there to be a story. Thankfully, whenever you go anywhere with my dad, he supplies a story pretty quickly. In this case, it took him about 30 seconds.
I had no freaking clue how I forgot that. It was right by the back door.
Tell me one more time what you forgot.
I forgot all my luggage.
You forgot your luggage. When he says his luggage, he means everything except his wallet, phone, and butt. But you tell me, does this look like a man who is stressed about it? This isn't his first rodeo. Legend has it that the doctors never had to cut his umbilical cord because he forgot it in the womb. My dad is notorious for being forgetful. He leaves stuff wherever he goes. You can always know if my dad has been somewhere because he's left a trail behind him of his belongings. At least you're traveling light.
Yeah, I don't even have luggage to worry about. It's pretty cool. It's kind of relaxing not have to drag that stuff around.
The only unfortunate part is that I'm a little bit of a chip off the old block myself. We got on the shuttle bus, and then I realized I forgot my mic, my lav mic charging case.
Yeah, where did you learn that?
I'll be right back. Right where I left it. Now, once we were inside the airport, this was an opportune moment for my dad to go try to gather a couple of things that he would need for the trip since he forgot everything. What are you gonna do for underwear?
I don't know.
Now, this is just kind of one of those, I don't know, call it kind of an old guy thing. The only thing he felt like he needed to get was socks.
But I need socks.
Our flight was delayed, I think 2 hours, if memory serves me right. Every minute of those 2 hours was going to various stores, trying different socks, feeling the socks, asking people in the store questions about those socks. Get some socks?
Socks.
Socks. Got them.
Pair of socks. And I'm set.
All you need is socks.
Socks and a toothbrush.
Socks and a toothbrush.
I'm good for 5 days.
In 1992, sports psychology researcher Dr. Robert Brustad said, everybody wants to talk about parents in sports, but nobody wants to do any research on them. He made a very good point back then. Thankfully, his call to action has galvanized researchers across sports psychology everywhere to go and do more research on being a parent of an athlete. It's a very robust and deep literature, and I've tried to do my best to condense down some of the most key points that I think are the most repeated and have some of the best data to back them up. And I have condensed this down through the PARENTS acronym. Every single word on here covers some important corner of the sports psychology research universe when it comes to being the parent of a performer. You as a parent might feel ill-equipped to do psychological interventions, but as a parent, that's actually exactly what you're doing all the time. It's important to know that you don't necessarily have to do these perfectly. You just have to supply a perception of you doing these things. Let me explain. So a paper in 1999 looked at hundreds of youth soccer players, and they measured three things: different psychological outcomes of the youth soccer players, the perception that the kids had of their parents, such as, do they support me? Do they believe in me? And then lastly, they actually surveyed the parents for their actual belief. The only correlating variables was the kids' psychosocial outcomes with the kids' perceptions of their parents' belief. The parents' beliefs themselves actually had no correlation with the children's psychosocial outcomes. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to do your best to help your kid perceive that this parents acronym exists within you. I am one tired dude. We called an audible, just decided to stay the night here in Portland. Pretty sure we're staying at a motel that was once the scene of a crime. All we need is a place to lay our pretty little heads. So, should be good, ready for tomorrow. The P in parents stands for purpose. What is the purpose of your kid being in sport? Because they could have a lot of reasons why they want to be in sport. Yes, it could be to perform well, make it to the next level, but it could also just be to get exercise, learn how to have a good relationship with exercise. It could be psychosocial development. And despite your kid's goal for being in sport, you should never lose focus that really sport is there to help us be better people. It's a training ground for life. It is there so we can learn how to handle difficult things in a safe environment where the consequences don't really leak out into the rest of our life. Understanding what is your kid's purpose for being in sport helps you navigate the following step in the parents acronym. We survived the night in the murder motel. I forgot to tell you guys about what was happening on the airplane last night. We flew a smaller airline, the type of airline that makes you pay for your snacks and your drink.
It's downright un-American.
Old man David wasn't having it, continually asking for free cookies, which they had to repeatedly tell him, no, we do not offer free cookies. He'd sweet talked them enough where they were bringing us like their own personal cookies that they had made for themselves, and they had bumped us up to the place with legroom. And it's funny because sometimes he does this type of thing, and I think it's like this older age unawareness maybe.
What year is it?
But I just think he just knows that if he asks for things with this smile that he can get what he wants eventually. And it's not facetious, it's actually charming maybe? I don't know, but we spent the flight in better seats eating cookies. So traveling with dad, there's that for you.
Come on. Up, keep it tall, keep it tall, keep it tall.
Oh! Oh, on the way down.
Yeah.
Oh!
You about had it.
The A stands for adapt specialization. Specialization refers to specializing to a specific sport. The key here is learning how to adapt the specialization according to your kid's needs, their goals, and also their age and stage of development. If your kid is more interested in engaging in sport for fun, or you just want them to have a healthy relationship with exercise, then there's probably no real reason to specialize in a specific sport, and it might be more advantageous to give them a broad range of sports to survey and to participate in. If your kid is wanting to participate in sport to be a high performer, to reach the next level, doesn't necessarily mean that you immediately start to specialize in that sport. A really good book on this subject was published by Benjamin Bloom. He surveyed 120 expert performers across a variety of performance domains, from math, science, to piano, to sports. And he found that in general, experts had gone through 3 phases of development. Stage 1 was characterized by experimental play, by engaging for fun. In stage 2, they started to get a little bit more serious. They started to get a little bit more committed to that sport or that task. Once they knew, hey, this is something that I like, then in stage 3, it is now more the all in. I'm trying to do my best. I'm trying to seek out every single performance gain that I can possibly muster out. In a similar vein, in 1999, Côté published a paper where he interviewed 4 families with elite athletes being in that family. He found something very, very similar to Dr. Bloom, that in general, they were developed through 3 phases of specialization. the sampling years, the specialization years, and the investment years. In the sampling years, it was all about play. It was just about going out and engaging in whatever sport they wanted to engage in. And during this time, there's a high diversity of sport engagement. Now, the specializing years are when these 4 families started to specialize a little bit more. However, they did not totally specialize or go all in a sport quite yet. It was actually kind of 50-50. Half of the time was spent in play. Sometimes in research, we call it deliberate play, and the other half was spent in deliberate practice. Effortful, focused engagement on improving. From ages 15 and up, Côté defined as the investment years. These are the years when the athletes really specialized on their craft. The way your kid develops might be slightly different. It may not follow these exact age brackets, but the point we need to take away from here is that when they're young, be diverse in your sport play. And as your kid gets more interested in their sport, then you can start to specialize from there. Even more recently, in 2015, there was a review of studies about what makes an expert sport parent. And they reviewed loads of studies that showed that expert sport parents don't specialize early. This goes against the common grain of sport today. Travel ball, little league. There's even new disappointing research that shows that by the age of 13, 70% of youth athletes quit. And a lot of this is being driven by overuse injuries and burnout, which largely occurs due to specialization.
So along with our tickets to the track meet today, there was a voucher to come to the Nike company store. You can't just get in, you need some sort of a voucher or a pass. And everything's super discounted. It was all 40% off today.
That's a good deal.
So there was kind of this perfect storm between my dad forgetting his luggage and having no clothes and this 40% off deal, plus I happen to be a big fan of Nike running gear. Between those things, we may have spent a couple of hours in the Nike store. We're now very late to our next destination, but my dad is now closed. So that's a good thing.
I had planned that we would get to Haystack Rock in Northern Oregon at sunset. We were now running super late to get to Haystack Rock.
It just took forever, sorry.
Bye, friend.
And you should have bought more stuff.
I'm not the one missing all my clothes. Do I feel like a new man now?
Yep. I feel like a new man until I get home and see Mom.
And then I do not condone speeding, but I was definitely going like 10 or 15 over at a minimum. I was driving and my dad was feeding me dinner as we drove so we could get to Haystack Rock in time. Thankfully, in the nick of time, we got there.
One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
I honestly don't think we could have been 5 minutes later.
Oh, cheese, stand right here.
Yeah.
He's already just telling strangers our life story.
This is like the most important stuff in life. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Look at that. How that just sticks out there, jets out there, that little one,
Yeah.
that big one.
Yeah.
Not the big moon out there.
Called the Haystack. You've probably seen pictures of it before.
I think I have.
Yeah. The R stands for role model. The 1999 paper that surveyed 227 youth soccer athletes found something really interesting about the powerful effect that being a role model has on your kids' own psychosocial outcomes within sport. They found that a youth athlete's enjoyment, commitment, and internal motivation to engage in a sport was directly correlated with their perception of their own parents' attitude and effort towards sport and physical exercise. Now, you don't have to go out and join your local U48 tackle football club.
Get that old of yours in the end zone!
But you just have to show your kid that you yourself will engage in physical exercise and that it's something important to you and that you have a good attitude about it. A 2019 study surveyed 881 youth athletes. They divided these athletes into two groups, an elite performing group and a sub-elite performing group. They found that the elite group of youth athletes perceived their parents to be more of a role model of hard work than the sub-elite group of athletes. As a matter of fact, that 2015 review on being an expert parent showed that showing your ability to manage your emotions within your sport and your exercise is a skill of an elite sport parent. So if you want to teach your kid how to manage emotions, you should always look in the mirror first and think about the message that you are sending them through your own actions.
Finally got good sleep last night, which was nice. I don't really know what we're doing today, but plan is to just drive down the coast and explore. Should be fun. I haven't seen any seals. Can you see where there's like a hole in that rock out there?
Is that what that is? It's not like a rock coming out this way. I followed every measure of my luggage and had that binocular.
Oh, yeah. How'd you remembered your luggage?
Shh.
The E in the parent's acronym stands for Emit belief. Competence motivation theory suggests that when someone feels competent in something, they're going to be more motivated to do that thing. Self-determination theory by Ryan and Dacey, which is a foundational motivational theory in psychology, shows that feeling competent is key for developing internal motivation to do something. Thus, it should be no surprise that when your child feels competent at their sport, that they're going to be more motivated and committed to doing it, and that they're going to do it with more enjoyment. Unfortunately, we do have good evidence that over time, it is normal for a child's competence and self-belief to drop off as they get older. One of my favorite studies that I reviewed in preparation for this video examined 512 young athletes and their parents over the course of 12 years. At the beginning of the 12-year study, they asked parents to rate their belief in their child's ability. This longitudinal study found that a parent's belief in their child's ability at year one had a protective effect on the decrease of their child's competence and interest in sport over time. So how can you emit your belief? Anytime you can praise them, point out the good things they're doing, you should take that opportunity to give them that positive feedback. Now, a way I like to do this through a more structured method is called the 3-to-1 feedback technique. In this technique, you simply ask your child, what are 3 things you did well today? And what's one thing that you could improve upon? This brings to their mind the things they're doing well, helps them feel more competent. Anytime you can help your kid feel the belief you have in them, you're gonna win that psychological intervention.
Never in my life have I witnessed a more extreme juxtaposition between the multi-billion-dollar cheese factory on one side of the street and on the other side of the street, the mobile home seafood restaurant. Make sure you support both if you ever come through.
Look at all the people just going. It's like they're filling up SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, but it's just a creamery and all they want is an ice cream cone.
I'm not really a big dairy fan, but when in Rome, it's actually pretty good. Did you take extra?
Well, he told me I could only get one of each.
So you took extra.
No. I took medium cheddar and sharp white.
I see 2 medium cheddars.
One of each.
You ready to get your hill running in?
Yeah, ready. My glasses are in the car, right?
Glasses?
I can't find my glasses anywhere.
Your sunglasses? Are we racing to the top?
Not racing. This is tougher than pickleball. Yep. This is tough.
Alrighty. Let's do this. Fourth quarter, man. Oh man, but that's gorgeous. Look, look! Just walk. David Maudib. Oh my gosh, he's cruising. I can't catch him. My ears are literally filled with sand, like they're clogged, like that feeling you get with water, but it's insane. This is actually so much sand. I've been thinking about getting the shot and not thinking about how much sand. Just look how much sand came out of my sock. Oh man, that was insane, dude.
A popular sports psychology theory, known as achievement goal theory, explains that people can be motivated either by a mastery orientation or an ego orientation. Ego orientation is like, I'm motivated to fill my ego. I want to look good for other people. It's very external in its need for validation.
Because here at Globo Gym, we're better than you, and we know it.
Whereas a mastery orientation has to do with more intrinsic motivational aspects. I want to do it for me. I want to do it because I like it. I like to see myself progress. I'm not worried about what other people think. I'm just worried about being my best self. The sports psychology research shows that having a mastery orientation is more conducive to long-term performance, especially for youth athletes. A parent's goal orientation correlates very tightly with their child's goal orientation, meaning that if a parent is very ego-driven, then so will their child be most likely. And if they are very mastery-driven, well, thus is likely the same with the child. When the child perceives that their parent is mastery-driven, we see that performance anxiety significantly goes down. And the opposite is true. When a child perceives that his parent is driven by ego, performance anxiety goes up. This makes a lot of sense, right? They probably feel pressure because they perceive their parent really cares about winning, and inevitably, this is going to increase the pressure to perform. This same research also demonstrates that when a child perceives that his or her parent is mastery-oriented, that they have greater self-esteem as well. You might have internal or external reasons why you put your kid in sport. There was a study of 533 child baseball players and their parent dyads that looked at when a parent puts their kid into sport for internal reasons, what are the effects? And when a parent puts their kid into sport for external reasons, what are the effects? And they found that when a parent puts their kid into sport for internal, more mastery-driven reasons, the child has an increase in their basic psychological needs, which includes competency, relatedness, and feeling autonomy. When parents had put their kids into sport for external reasons, more ego-driven reasons, these basic psychological need scores went down and the kids were actually more likely to quit their sport. You can definitely cultivate a mastery-oriented environment through effort. An experiment in 2009 looked at the effects of a mastery orientation workshop for parents. Parents were taught how they could cultivate a mastery-oriented environment through 3 mechanisms. 1, focusing on the effort. Praising the effort of your kids. When you notice effort, praise it. Make the analysis of the performance that day more about the effort rather than the outcomes. 2, setting goals. You can have goals that are ego-oriented and ego-written in nature, or goals that are more cultivated to appeal to a mastery orientation. And then lastly, redefining success as reaching one's own potential, and then adding an emphasis on the joy that comes through sport and the personal development. They found that those children whose parents attended the 1-hour workshop had lower scores on the SAS2, which measures sport anxiety. It helps to show your kid that you love them no matter what. Doesn't matter if they perform well, doesn't matter if they perform poorly. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna be able to play and perform with no strings attached, just being their best self.
Okay, it's recording. Let's go over here, take a picture where we were. You want to race?
Come back here.
10-meter start.
No.
Ready?
Ready? 1, 2.
I believe Usain Bolt all started.
3.
What's the top 3 most beautiful places you've ever been?
I don't know. This has got to be one of the most beautiful for sure. And I didn't have to go to the Mediterranean or to Europe. It's here. It's right here.
Yeah.
This place is amazing.
Let's see if we can see it.
There. Get down there. 1880s, Captain Cox discovered a sea cave. Full of sea lions. The biggest sea cave in the United States.
This place is pretty crazy, isn't it? Yeah, biggest sea cave in the United States.
The T stands for turn down pressure. Sport naturally comes with a healthy amount of pressure. Sport does not need your assistance in supplying that pressure. A research review in 2024 summarizes several studies that clearly demonstrate parental pressure decrease motivation and sport enjoyment in children. The 2024 review also shows that parental pressure is more likely to come from a father rather than a mother. Not that moms can't add that parent pressure, but if you're a dad, it helps to just be aware that sometimes you might be the one adding that pressure.
I really want to be a good dad. I want to be a great dad.
Sometimes this pressure is done inadvertently. For example, a 2016 cross-sectional study which examined 163 parent-athlete dyads found that whenever a parent invested more money into their child's sport, pressure went up. I'm obviously not telling you to not invest financially into your child's sport. Don't talk to them about the finances. Don't use finances as a way to motivate them. Don't say, hey, Johnny, I'd really like it if you practice batting more because I'm paying for this coach and that's a lot of money. This probably isn't going to motivate them to go out and play more and bat more. It's just going to add more pressure to perform. It's actually a really fast way to get them to quit sport earlier. Definitely invest in your children, your time, your money, your efforts, but never make that in front of the curtains. Keep that stuff behind the curtains. What's in front of the curtains? Your love. Tell them you love them, you love to watch them play, you care for them, and your support. So let the pressure come from the game and not from you.
Travel on by locomotive, turning of the century. See their fine clothes, soot is turning, satin's black as the night can be. But there's a new line, the like a walnut, cold as green as a mountain spring. Through the forest and over water, Northern Railway beauty sing.
All right, are you ready for more questions?
No, I don't know.
After my freshman year, that's when I realized that I needed to quit football. Do you even remember that? Like having those conversations about quitting football?
I mentioned earlier that my dad was a high school football coach. We bonded a lot over track, but my dad's favorite sport was football. And truth be told, I really sucked at football. I had brick hands I couldn't catch. I was really small, and even when I made hits, it always rang my bell.
I wasn't happy. It was making me just super anxious. It just wasn't for me.
When I finally got the guts to tell him that I didn't want to play football anymore and that I wanted to pursue track, I was actually really surprised with his reaction. I remember him telling me that he doesn't care what I choose to do with my sport endeavors. He was gonna find ways to support me to the best of his ability.
What do you remember about that from like your perspective? Like, what were your thoughts?
You know, my son doesn't like it, not having a good time, and I'm gonna find out what he loves, and we're gonna make him successful, make him feel positive.
Put me at peace knowing that I had my father's unwavering support in that process. Shortly after I quit high school football, a track coach reached out and asked if I wanted to join his practice team. The only problem with that is that he coached in northern Utah and I grew up in central southern Utah.
We did that for a long time, if you remember.
Yeah.
Go up there and do those workouts.
After school, we'd get into the car and we would drive 2 hours, hour 45 minutes to where he was to go train. I felt like that was a big sacrifice between money, time to travel.
At some point during my junior year, on a car ride home, I was thinking about how kind of crazy it was that my dad was willing to drive me so far. I got curious about this and I asked my dad, hey, why do you do this? And I remember while at the wheel, eyes still on the road, he kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, I like spending time with you. I want to support you. I'm happy to do it. Now, admittedly, I don't really recall how I responded to that or what was said after that moment. But I do remember how I felt. I felt loved and supported and lucky.
I didn't look at it as a sacrifice at all. I looked at it as an opportunity. It's interesting what some people think as a sacrifice, other people look at as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to spend time with you. I mean, you can call that sacrifice. I call that fun. That was just kind of fun.
On the Oregon coast, as you're driving, you can look out at any one time and see everything there's to see off the shoreline. But for the last 3 hours, we have been in some seriously intense fog. That's where the beach should be. As we drive, we're not sure if we're passing really cool stuff or not. So we're just kind of road tripping right now, which is totally cool because it's given us a good chance to just talk and put the camera down, and it's been fulfilling just to be with my dad for a few hours and just talk about everything from sports to growing up to his life to my life. So it's all been good stuff, even though this has been the view for the last few hours. It's the last day of the trip, and we've made it to this very last stretch of the Oregon coast where every mile there's another big iconic rock. Though admittedly, we're already late to the airport, so we're gonna kind of speed through these bad boys.
Last, we have support. Now, there's a lot of ways a parent can support their child in sport. There's tangible support, informational support, emotional support. Parents can range in support from under-involved to over-involved, and the research actually shows that there might be a sweet spot. A 2021 article interviewed highly skilled youth volleyball players and low-skilled youth volleyball players. They found that the highly skilled volleyball players perceived moderate levels of support from their parents, while the less skilled volleyball players perceived high support from their parents. This high support came in the form of being over-involved and over-controlled. A 2002 study on the psychology of sport parenting also found that when parents were overly supportive, that their children were more likely to be burnt out and want to quit sport. They also found that children really just want moderate levels of support from their parents. They want their parents at their games, they want their parents to drive them through practice, be there for the ups and downs, but they don't want their parents to have their paws all inside of the sport and controlling every aspect of their sport experience. Now, there is some research that shows that instructional support, coaching, tips, cues, can actually maybe have some negative effects. This is because when you're giving your child instructional support, they think that what you care about is the performance and outcomes. Nothing wrong with instructional support. You just want to make sure that you're doing it with balance and that it's not happening all the time. Now, I only say this next part to cultivate mindfulness, but unfortunately the research shows that sometimes daughters get less support than sons, and our daughters deserve our support just as much as our sons do. Another parenting style, which is closely related to the way a parent can support a child, that the research highly encourages, is autonomy supportive parenting. When a child perceives that his or her parent is autonomy supportive, they're more likely to enjoy sport and to commit to overcoming challenges. In summation, balanced parental support is advantageously associated with sport enjoyment, self-esteem, and even elite performance.
You know, I was thinking about my conversation with my dad, and it made me think about this really cool research, the theory of challenge and threat states in athletes. The point of this research was to try to find what helps an athlete feel like they're ready to take on a challenge, not go into a threat state, but feel like, hey, this is something I can take on. One of the things that predicts that is social support. Feeling like you have people in your corner, which is really intuitive actually, because when you feel like you have people in your corner, not only do you feel like you have the resources to take on that challenge, but if you fail, you kind of feel like you're loved and supported anyways. Interesting how something like, you know, just having a supportive dad to drive you to track practices can enhance performance. We're going to Secret Beach. At least I think this is Secret Beach. We'll find out at the end.
Spending 3 days on the road with my dad in Oregon reminded me of all those car rides we took to practice back in high school. And while they were just simply rides to practice with my dad, they meant a lot more to me. They meant a lot more to the 15-year-old who was dealing with a lot of anxiety and was trying to find meaning and purpose through running. And now I'm a parent and I have a kid in sport, and I'm starting to feel this urge to give them the best training, the best gear, the best performance optimization tools. And in the midst of all that chaos and pressure to do so much as a parent, it's trips like this with my dad that remind me how small acts of support often outdo all those other things. Supporting and showing love for your kid goes so much further for performance enhancement than in all these other tools that we seem to obsess over today. It's important to remember that when your kid grows up, probably not gonna remember the cues that you taught them for a perfect tennis serve, probably not gonna remember their Little League batting average or how many medals they won in flag football. But what they likely will remember is how you made them feel. They will remember the way sports made them feel, but they're also gonna remember the way you made them feel. They'll remember if they had fun or not. They'll remember if this was something they enjoyed. They'll remember if you loved them, if you showed care for them. And just like those car rides to practice as a kid, I don't remember much of the details. I don't remember what we talked about. I don't remember the music we listened to. I don't remember the workouts I ran at practice. I hardly even remember some of my teammates' names. But what I do remember is how my dad made me feel. And when I look back on this road trip with my dad, I don't think I'm gonna remember the specifics either.
This is amazing.
But I do think I'll remember the way I felt.
Kind of a thing of the past. People won't get bands like they used to.
Do you want to see Grandpa? Thanks for the trip.